Shrikant, you can start your session.
Yeah. I guess able to see my screen.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. Good evening, everyone. Good morning. Good afternoon, whoever it is, wherever it is. So yeah, it's good to have be here with the one-day virtual event. So India Cloud Security Summit for 2025. So I will yeah, this is session number 12, and I will give a brief overview about myself. I'm Srikanth and working as lead specialist for the cloud and cybersecurity at the Kyndryl. And I have overall a decade of experience into the IT side, where working with the virtualization, cloud security with the design, deploy, assist with the different projects or different customers. Apart from the work, I will be a mentor, a certified mentor, and the certified speaker. I have gone through more than 1000 plus sessions with the different individual mentor sessions and also a couple of public speaking sessions. And I'm here to talk on the mastering access, how we can do zero trust world nowadays. I mean, every organization is going to be set it up with a zero trust architecture. So how we can get it done in terms of with Microsoft Entra ID. So yeah, it will be like 4:45 to 5:30. So I will try to capture or I will try to utilize that particular time. And even if you have any questions, you can reach me in the later part also. So as yeah, this is mainly we're talking Microsoft Azure side. So it's going to have like a five pillars with the multi-layered approach to secure your environment. So one of them is identity and access control, specifically with the Entra ID or formerly like Azure ID. So you have like conditional access policies, one of them, which I'm going to talk more in detail in this session. So apart from this one, we have other four as a pillars to provide your zero trust. To get like a network security, so you have to concentrate or I mean, Microsoft Azure is going to have different tools. So whether you want to achieve with the native tools or whether you want to leverage with any third-party tools. So in Azure itself, so we have network security groups where you can protect your in and out interface level or the subnet level. And if you want to go with the layer 7 to protect your perimeter side, so you can leverage with the like Azure firewall, and then we have a DDoS protection to protect your network at the Azure side. And we have data protection, right? So, I mean, if you want to and if you want to protect your data, which is data in the rest or data in the transit, so you can leverage with the encryption. And then if you want to access your any kind of data within the Azure, so you can leverage with the key vault and provide the secure keys over there are the uh, secure keys or the passwords, and then you can get the access to your data with the proper security. And then again, we have threat detection response. So where you can leverage with the Defender for Cloud, and then you have a SIM tool from the Microsoft Azure, which is like Sentinel. So you can leverage those tools, and then you can protect in terms of your environment to analyze the logs, where it is happening and how it is happening, the data which is traveling into the Azure or outside of the Azure. And then we have a governance, one of the key component where uh, all the different organizations is going to be in compliance with in terms of the business or in terms of the standards of that particular locality or the nature of the industry. So Microsoft has Azure governance where you can set it up like different policies to enforce with the different subscriptions or the individual resource groups wherever you have to provide. So of course, blueprints was there, and then now they have started with the like depreciation. So these are like five different approaches where if you want to get like zero trust with the different components. But I'm mainly talking with the identity wise. So when we're talking about like zero trust, so it's not the new term and it's not the new technology where organizations are just evolving with this approach with narrowed down into each layer or each component. So when I'm talking like zero trust principle, right? So we are not going to trust anyone or never anywhere. So we have to always verify the kind of identity, how they are, I mean, how the end user is going to accessing from where, and then what kind of privileges or what kind of access it has been provisioned. So the reason mainly is nowadays, so majority of the cases, so the customers or the end users is going to be like in the hybrid situation. Whether it is like end user can access the data from anywhere across the globe, and so whether it is in a private network which the particular user be in a specific locality, so you have to think about it and then we have to plan it out. So it's a like hybrid situation, so where you have to consider the zero trust, and then and again the approach is nowadays all the major organizations is going to be transitioning into the cloud first environments, so where the production and the workloads which we are going to deploying with the SaaS based, and then the new technologies or new adaptation with the cloud. So and then you have to be leverage. So I mean, you are going to be persistent with the threats, which is going to be always every day is going to become as a new. You have to be persistent with the like advanced model. So in the end of the day, so the security is going to be depends with the real-time context. I mean, how you are going to manage rather than just okay, the person is going to come in from this particular location or this particular network. So okay, I'm going to approve the access or I'm going to access. So you have to consider all the metrics and all the things to be in a better secure way. And one of them is you have to be like enforce the least privilege access always. So whether it is a regular user or the privileged, so we have to be think in a proactive way, and then you have to be enforce the least privilege for model, like just in time access, where if you want to access for a like specific time period, so just access in that particular time period and then get, I mean, get remove it, right? So we have to be leveraged with this approach with the zero trust. So and then so where Microsoft Azure, so one of the pillar which I mentioned, right? So Entra ID, it has like all the features I would say, and we can leverage. So there are like a lot. But how we are going to be apply into the organization? So we have Entra ID. So it was like the new name which is evolved from the Azure Active Directory. So when I have tested or when I have used in the organization since like around more than like 7 plus or 8 plus, so it's not mature to use agnostic or multi-cloud approach or multi deployment. But nowadays, so every feature they have been integrated, and then we can leverage and then we can provide more secure to our environments in the organizations. So it's going to have an identity centric, so where you're going to have secure and then access platform. Specifically, if you compare with any other cloud platform, right? So AWS or GCP, so it has lot mature, and then you can integrate with the multi-cloud platform. So for like a SS4, so I have built a lot of different applications for the SS4. So it's a good future. So you can go and leverage with the Entra ID, and at the same way, you're going to have a facility to who wants to access that particular application, right? So whether you want to go with the HR systems or whether you want to integrate with any external identities. So let's say I want to integrate with the like B2B model or B2C model. So yes, you can integrate with the Entra ID. So and then it's not just only cloud-based access. So if you have any on-prem applications within the organizations, still you can integrate it. So that's a benefit. And also even so, if you leverage with any like other cloud provider, right? So you have to have a separate user accounts. So, but whereas in an Entra ID, so I can sync my on-prem objects. So it is easy to remember when you're going to have a lot of tenants or a lot of subscriptions if you want to integrate or if you want to manage in the cloud service provider also. So when you're going to working with the different customers, right? So it's hard to use every time with the new user. So if you're going to have access to multiple subscriptions or the multiple tenants, right? So it's easy to manage. So you have like B2C, and then you can leverage with your own on-premises account, which can provide the access to different applications, and then you can integrate with different devices. So and again, you have a multi-factor authentication, and then you are going to have like identity protection. So where once you have enabled the identity protection with the premium P2 subscription, you can have a risk analysis where the user is going to be, as a user behavior analytics, it's going to be identified, and then it's going to be suggesting with whether this particular user may risk, so that you can identify and then you can plan it out accordingly. And then nowadays, so Microsoft has already enforced the MFA specifically for the user based. Still, there is a tenant level. You can extend to put a exclusion for a some certain time. I believe so till September or something. So, but yeah, we have to be go with the MFA, and then they are going to enforce, and then you can register with the different entities. So, and then you're going to have like lifecycle management process. Again, I mean, you have a separate tool, right? So Purview, which you can leverage for a like lifecycle management of the in and out, and then modification of the management of the user objects or the any process. So which we can leverage, and then the main approach or the main benefit, which is the conditional access CM. So which I'm going to talk more into this part now. So what it means actually, like when the talking about the conditional access, and then how we are going to be leverage. The name itself saying the condition. If I mean, it has to match something. So you're going to put in some kind of access restriction, or you're going to put some kind of condition. It has to be matched, and then you're going to allow, you're going to block. Okay. So these are the like dynamic decisions, right? So where inputs you are going to giving in the conditional access policy when you are going to create. So what do you want to choose it? So whether you want to choose like user, or whether you want to choose a group, and also the like location. So you're going to defining your signal, right? So what kind of input you want to give. So, and then device state. So whether you want to be restricted with the specific device model, and also the like location. So if I mean, if you have on-site and offshore team, and then you want to restrict your access with the cloud resources or any kind of resources, if you want to put, you can specify your location. Okay, I want to access this particular application to be in India or to be in some other location. So you can put it, and then you can create a specific groups, or you can add the users into that particular group, so that if that user is part of that group, then you can leverage with the access level. And then you're going to put in like kind of like controls. Okay, so whether you want to allow the access or whether you want to block it. And again, so you want to require multi-factor authentication. So which means if the user wants to access any specific application, so if that particular user has been registered with MFA, then only it has to be allow, or otherwise it should be like block, or it should be pop up always to register with MFA. So, and then probably you can put a control. So in the organization, so right, so you're going to have Intunes, and then your device is going to be in a complaint. And then if that particular device will be in a compliant, so then only I can give access, otherwise I don't give. And then again, I can give password change, whether I mean that particular user has to be, let's say, so today that person has been logged in from India, and then suddenly that particular user has been logging from different location. Then whether I want to accept with the password change to access your application. So all these controls I can define into my conditional access policy. So and then you're going to put in like all these decisions, right? So whether you want to allow or whether you want to put a specific limited access, or you can block, and then so you're going to be enforced, right? So whether you want to be in a specific group or specific application, so you can define that particular conditional access policies to the where you want to assign it. Okay. So I'm mainly concentrating with a couple of scenarios which which I have personally worked or built, and then I'm talking about those, some of them, mainly like four scenarios which I have brought here. So one is legacy authentication. So where so you're going to have like different protocols, right? So and then the bad actors can leverage these legacy protocols, and then they can do or they can enter into the your environment with the like brute force, and then different kind of uh, actors can be ingested, and then they can access into your environment. So once they have done, and again you're going to see like lateral movement to your environment. So when you don't have a properly configured this one, so this is a like major key challenge for any organizations, right? So legacy protocols, whether it is like IMAP, POP, or SMTP, the old one, the authentication protocols, right? So you have a solution, so which you can go with the conditional access policy. So whether you want to block the legacy authentication for all the users. So this is like one of the screenshots. So if you go through like any Entra admin center, right? So if you want to block your SMTP authentication, so you can leverage with your mail flow, and then so you can get it done. So you have to be logged in with the global admin, and then you can modify these settings, and then you're going to get more protection into your environment. So it's nothing but you're going to be closing your bypass, right? So where it is not supporting like your MF authentication, right? So that you're going to avoiding with these legacy protocols when you're going to be configuring, or when you're going to be blocking this with a conditional access policy. And then by end of the day, you're going to be improving your entire security posture baseline, right, to be strengthen your as per the organization standards with the whether it is like the framework which are going to be using like NIST, CAS, or whatever it is. So you're going to control, and you're going to be mature with your security posture. So these are like one of the use case, so where organizations have has been uh, putting like conditional access policies, or even if they don't have it, so they can come up and they can leverage this with the conditional access policy. So and the major concern, yeah, the next thing is like this is a scenario so where securing, how you're going to securing your privileged accounts. So majority of the breaches or the attack can be done with your privileged accounts, right? So where that particular privileged account is going to be an access to entire your environment. So that's the reason. So we should be like always make sure privileged accounts how and where when you're going to accessing it. So we have to be configure like a lot of policies apart from this conditional access policy into the privileged account into the different application layer. But if I'm talking about the like Entra ID, so where we are looking into the conditional access policies, right? So your administrator accounts is going to be always high value. So where you are going to be in a easy bad actor to be enter with that particular credentials, right? The reason why privileged account is an easy thing is, so as a privileged user, you are in a troubleshooting scenario or troubleshooting issue, right? So you're going to be in a situation where you are have to fix something, and then you're clicking something else, or you're missing something to be protect your stuff, right? So that's the reason. So we have to be more secure your privileged accounts. So of course, so you can put like your user password, and those has a special characters, and the long specific number of the characters, and then it should be match alphanumeric everything. So apart from that one, so we are going to be leveraged with the conditional access policies, right? So you have different tools which you can integrate with your PIM model. right? So if you want to use, you can leverage with your Azure native PIM, or if you want to leverage with any third-party tools also, which privilege identity management or access management. So you can leverage to protect your environment. So each policy which you have to define to be so whatever the device which you are going to accessing it, right? So you have to be limit. So whether that particular device or the workstation, whatever it is you are going to trying to access, whether it is hybrid joined or whether it has been compliant as per your organization. So we have to define that one, and then we are going to be restricting with the specific locality. So there is like a specific plant, so which has to be accessed, those devices from that particular location. So if you know, yes, you have to define block or restrict with that particular locality. So whereas you have other plants, so and then you're going to have specific application for that particular plant. So you have to ensure to access from that particular location. So you can define that restriction. So and then yes, you can leverage with the third party tools, and then you can provide more secure connectivity or more secure access with your privileged accounts, right? So the reason is yeah, it's easy access into the environment once the privileged account has been uh, breached or compromised. Okay. So when you have implemented the security access policies with the privileged accounts, so you're going to have to be reduced, right? So by end of the day, you're going to reducing your attack surface, and then you're going to be temporarily you're going to be high privilege. You're going to eliminating, and then you're going to be in a like proper approval workflows. So and again, in the organization, so when you're going to be so when you're going to be have a like privilege account, so you're going to be ensuring proper workflows. Okay. So let's say in the PIM, so you mentioned like one person approval or multi-person approval. But so if that particular approval process is not configured properly, right? So then again it's going to be a mess up. So you have configured everything with the privilege account with the conditional access policy, but approval workflows, we haven't designed it properly. So who has to be authenticated or who has to be authorized to get that particular access. I mean, where I have seen with the JIT, right? So, I mean, you are not keeping at least to understand that kind of access, whether the particular access the person has been requested or raised by it. So, but the purpose has to be defined in a proper way. So you have a service request with that particular device ID. So I have to troubleshoot, or I have to ensure to be do some kind of activity with this particular point of timeline with the proper change or the approval. So then yes, so someone is going to be there in the JIT, and then okay, so allow or approve, then that person is going to be accessing it, right? So that we have to be ensure to protect with your privileged accounts by leveraging the conditional access policy. This is one of the use case where I personally done it. So and the third one is yes, every organization or everyone is using like nowadays BOID, bring your own device. It is not due to the volume of the projects which organizations is going to be using, but it is a nature of the industry nowadays due to the pandemic, right? So the workplace can be anywhere, and then the kind of device. So earlier it is yes, you have to be logging from the office, and then you should be located with a specific device, station, workstation, and then you're going to be accessing. But nowadays, so let's say even if you have your personal own device, still get into environment and then try to support or try to work on it the things, right? So majority of the cases, yes, we are going to losing the securing of our BOID devices when you're going to accessing the environment. So specifically uh, i mean the person when they're going to using the personal device, right? So they may use something for some specific purpose in a personally, and then they miss to access with the proper secure way, whether it is like specific sites or specific application. So then that particular device has been compromised, right? So and then that particular user doesn't know whether it has been compromised or not, but from that particular device, so that guy is accessing to our environment. So, and then it's totally, I mean, it's going to be like total mess up, and then they can easily enter into our network and then mess up, right? So that's the reason. So we have to be secure. So when we are going to have the user, right? So you have to be defined. So what kind of conditional access policy with respect to the mobile device or any endpoint, right? So you're going to be app protection. So policies via Intune. I mean, you go with the Intune, and then you're going to be enforcement. So still, I know some of the companies still can access or can leverage the specific application without any kind of app protection within the specific devices. Okay, so but if you're going to have a Intune protection, right? So your device is going to be in a secure, so always it's going to be sending your data, whatever you're going to accessing from that particular application. So and then you're going to be defining your terms of use, right? So when you're going to be I mean, when you're going to be configuring your app protection, and then you're going to be blocking unknown locations and then unknown devices. So I mean, every organization knows about the specific localities, so where majority of the bad actors can jump or can come in. So, and then we are going to blocking those locations or those specific IP ranges, and then kind of devices also nowadays. So, if I mean, some of the healthcare organizations, they don't allow the Android devices, specifically when you are in a like specific compliance requirement, right? So, if the industry has or if the organization has to follow the specific standards, so you can define that particular device blocking with the conditional access policy. So at the end of the day, so when you're going to be securing your BOID device, right? So it's going to have like stable or productivity with the end user. So rather than sitting in a 10 hours or 8 hours in the, I mean, in the office, and then you're going to stick with the specific work. So when you're going to have access the environment from outside of the organization network or organization, you're going to have like better productivity, and then you're going to balancing. So with, I mean, when you're going to have a situation, so you're an emergency to support some kind of change or some kind of activity, so yes, you can get it done when you're going to have all these conditional access policy. Okay, so this is again like one more scenario, so which I want to brought here. So and the other one is risk based. So where I mean, so user behavior analytics is a key component or key thing nowadays. You have different apps which you can monitor, but at the same way, so you have, I mean, just monitoring is not going to be enough, right? So by end of the day, you have to be put some kind of conditional access policies, like how or which the user is going to be risk, right? So the first thing is, I mean, some sign-ins, right? So, I mean, some sign-ins are some end user devices, so where they're going to be accessing it. So it's going to have like some kind of leaked credentials, okay? And then uh, it's in a I mean risky when that particular user is going to be authenticating it. So personally, so you have a third party support, I mean, third party vendors who has to come into the respective locality or respective office to support something. So let's say I have a DMart, okay? So to support some some device, so third party vendor is going to come in, and then the third party device, the third party vendor is going to come in with their own devices. So when they are going to connecting it with that particular device to into the network, so we are going to have in a risky, right? So with the sign. So if I want to protect, so I can do like risk based conditional access policies. So first thing is, yes, you have to leverage your identity protection, right? So you have to be in a like P2, and then you have to be enable the identity protection, and then you have to be go with the integration with the workspace, and then you have to be, I mean, identify or you have to analyze your risk, sign in risk. So whether it is like sign in risk level is high or medium. So if it is a high, so what you are going to define. So whether it is like require the MFA, right? So you're going to put in. So if this condition match, then yes. Or if something else, then you're going to put in. Okay, I don't want it to be allow. So even if it is a known user, known device, still if it is a risk, then yes, I'm going to block it. So I can keep my risk conditional access policies, whether you want to block the access, whether you want to do change the password, right? So or require the MFA again. So you have seen multiple in your day-to-day life also, right? So let's say till so far I have used this particular device to access my bank application or bank site, right? So suddenly I have connected to the other network day after tomorrow, or I mean, till yesterday I have used some other network, and then today suddenly I have used something else. Then it's going to popping up, right? So we require the MFA, or else you have to be accept. Okay, this has been trusted device, right? So we had to put all these like risk-based conditional policies, and then you are going to analyzing it, and then you are going to be putting. So what kind of policy you have to be configured, and then end of the day. So once you have defined, you have to be integrate with the your I mean apps and the data, so which has to be accessed, which don't want to which don't want to access or block it. Okay, so you are going to be improving your granularity to control your user based or dynamic signage with the risk policies. So these are the four use cases which I want to brought in this session to cover it up with this particular timeline. So in overall, so what's the, like, I mean, do's and don'ts, like what's the like best practice when you're going to be apply or when you're going to configure conditional access policies, right? So you should be like in the report only mode when in the starting mode, right? So and then you're going to defining your baseline policies to be like it's not just only to the one policy to the specific team. So rather than that one, so you're going to be putting entire across the organization. And then if there is specific requirement, right? So to be exclude or to be accessed by that particular application, so then yes, you can configure it. And again, you don't want to avoid the, I mean, you don't want to exclude each and everything. So where I have seen some of the organizations or some of the projects, right? So they, I mean, every day. So let's say they are going to configure. Okay, this location exclude. Okay, so day after tomorrow another location. Day after tomorrow some other locations. Yes, if the business is justification, if a requirement is there, yes. But otherwise, just as a temporary, and then you have configured it, and then after some point of time, if you are not going to be modifying it as per the requirement, so then it's going to be an issue. So I have seen the breaches will happen such kind of ways. The reason is I have seen, so there is a requirement to be a domain admin or global admin. So I mean that particular admin we have given, but we forget, right? So to be removed after the specific time period or the specific activity. So it's a easy chance. So he doesn't know, okay, I'm the super admin, but he is doing all the activities and then he done something else. So then it's easy to be enter with the bad actor and then get into the lateral movement, right? So we have to be careful and with the exclusions. So I mean, we don't want to go with like more exclusions, right? So and then yes, we have to be group users, devices. So how you want to roll out? So let's say when I mean, when I have deployed the MFA around like 5 years back with across organization, so we have defined it, right? So with the like less critical users, and then medium critical are with the like business justification. So how you have to be configured. So layer one or layer two or batch one, batch two or group one. So you have to be group with your users, and then you can roll out the your strategy. So and then always when you are going to be implementing, so you should be ensure, okay, what will happen if I don't have access to my environment? So whether I have any kind of other user account to function in the DR scenario or disaster recovery scenario where you want to be have a break glass account, right? So you are going to configure such kind of controls. You have to be test at least in a quarter or in a half year. So what will happen if this particular access policy is going to be trigger and then I don't have any user account to be managed? Then yes, how we are going to be managed with the break glass accounts, right? So that like we have to be ensured with the do's as a like best practice, and don'ts. Yes, as I mentioned, like we are not going to be more exclusions, and also we are not going to be just rely on the location alone. right? So you have to be multi-layer, okay, rather than saying like only single location. And then, so don't ignore your sign-in logs and insights. So where you have enabled identity protection, but you don't have time individually to be go through each sign-in logs, right? So to ensure your I mean the strategy. So what kind of sign-in logs I can allow, or what kind of sign-in risk I can allow, or deny or block, right? So don't ignore those things when even if you are going to be monitor or some other team, security team is going to be say something, okay, at least like review periodically, and then try to update your security postures with your strategy. So yeah, these are like kind of like final thoughts. What I want to say, the with the conditional access policy with your Entra ID. So you're going to have like policy summary, right? So how many policies you have defined, and then how you have kept like with the mode of the operation, and then uh, I mean, what kind of users it has been configured with this with that particular policy, and then even like similarly, like what device you have integrated, what applications you have integrated, right? So you have to look about it, right? So I mean, these are the things which you have
Shrikant,
to
just a
consider
small
when.
reminder, we have 8 minutes left.
Yeah, sure. Uh, yeah, so this is a summary where you have to be look or where you have to be always consider into your policy summary. So the key takeaways, which I want to say, zero trust, right? So which is a very critical to any organization nowadays. I mean, it's a your perimeter firewall to the your end user, right? So it's not just only to the boundary of your organization network. So everywhere. So you have to be ensure it's not just only identity and access management with the Entra ID. So even if you are going to configuring zero trust, right? So you have to be ensure with your perimeter firewall or the virtualization layer or the end user layer, right? So everywhere you have to be look. So with the different conditional access. So yes, Microsoft Entra ID is going to be providing your I mean core platform with the different features which you can integrate. Right? So, and then some of the policies or the some of the threats which I have mentioned. So it's not one day configure and then left or leave. So we had to be ensured to be continuously monitoring and then to fine tuning with the different policies which has to be enforced or which has to be modified as per the standards or as per the organizations, or if there is any kind of new enhancements which is coming from the Entra ID side. So you can leverage and then you can fine tune them. So every organizations, yes, if I mean if Entra ID with the conditional access policies has been configured, so you can evaluate. So what kind of current policies which you have configured, and then so if it is not configured, yes, try to be start to use conditional access policies. How we can enforce at least with granular layer, right? So and then you can go with the sign in things with the identity protection, try to enable again. You have to consider your budgeting uh, with the identity or your security posture. So yes, you have to be secure. Of course, your critical applications or the identities, whatever it is there. So I mean, specifically your core apps, whatever it's like business generation or the front end of your business, right? So we have to be uh, more active or more proactive to be in a way apply your conditional policies with those applications, and then yeah, whatever the identities which are going to leverage, we can keep or keep and apply always with the secure things. So I know I thought to show, I mean, different things in the test environment, but yeah, as with the limited timeline, so I want to concentrate with the explanation to understand or uh, to go with the different scenarios which I faced in my experience. Okay. Thank you. Thank you for this opportunity, and thank you all the attendees whoever attending from the global. I know different folks with the different time slots. So where you are residing it, and then special thanks to our sponsors, Microsoft, and then Kantra Technologies, and then Indian Cloud Security Summary. So it's like one day virtual event. Yeah, we can next time we can leverage with the 2 days to be uh, spend with the like more rather than 45. So let's go and expand like 1 hour or 1.5 hour, and then people can engage more into the things with the practical also. So
Sure.
thanks, and yeah, I will be available on my LinkedIn. So if you want to be I will be active on that platform, and then you can reach, or you can reach any. I mean, if you want have any questions, so you can reach me on that particular platform. So I will be available, and I will be helpful for any kind of questions. So I think we have like 4 minutes, but yeah, if anyone has any kind of questions, still I can answerable.
Yeah, thanks, Srikanth, for the lovely session. If anyone has questions, you can put them in the chat window or unmute yourself. That will be great. No, all right. Thank you, Srikanth. We'll end the session and we'll start in another 3 minutes for our next session with Evelyn and go from there.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Bye.